Yeah, Enigma in the house. My man Spann, Titan Studios. It's called From the Heart. Keeping it real is what all this song's about. Never selling your soul. Always staying true to yourself. Alright, yeah. Check it out. Money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the heart. Yeah, money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the start. Man, money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it from the heart. Yeah, money, cars, but we'll never get you far unless you gonna spit it.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your favorite weekly sports show. That's right, it is ITC Sportsball, and I am your man Jerome Spann, and of course I am here with the regular sports ball crew. We have got that hot take spitter, the man who rips like Dylon spits. He is the modern day Ali on the microphone. When he comes into your home, all your ladies is gone. He is that man.
You know it's your boy Mase ready to go. I got the hot takes for you today.
And of course, we've got ITC's resident troll. He sees a fire. He's like, I got that gasoline and gunpowder. What's happening? If you step into his zone, all of your mind will be gone. He is that man. Darrell.
He's spitting the facts of life. Yeah.
Already, bro. Already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, no. But we've got some stories to get into this week because the NBA playoffs are upon us. And I know everybody is excited for this. I know this is one of my favorite times of the year when the NBA playoffs get going. We basically have basketball every night from like here to like June, essentially. So all of that being said, Mase, the playoffs have all shaken out. All the playing games are done up to this point. We know who's playing who. So got to start with who's going to be in the conference finals for each conference here. Because, I mean, we could talk about series on series, but I think it just makes more sense if we just call it straight away. Who's going to be in the conference finals for each conference?
You know what?
Lord, he lagging this morning, ladies and gentlemen. But Mason's out there in the streets last night. He over here, he ain't got it yet. He ain't had it bang this morning. He ain't ready.
So I think the West. Can it shake out this way to have Phoenix and LA make it? Let me see check out the bracket. Yeah, check that bracket out. See if they can.
So, all right. So this is how it shakes down, just to make it a little bit easier for you. So in the East, we have the 1-8 is Milwaukee, Miami. The 4-5 is Cleveland, New York. The 3-6 is Philadelphia, Brooklyn, and the 2-7 is Boston and Atlanta. Mind you, the way I'm reading those, I'm going literally down the bracket, so it's how everything would be laid out, right? So in the West, we have 1-8 is Denver and Minnesota. 4-5 is Phoenix and the Clippers. The 3-6 is Sacramento and Golden State, and the 2-7 is Memphis and the Lakers.
Okay, so yeah.
All that being said, who you got?
Out of the West, you know, man, I think we're going to see the Memphis Grizzlies really kind of take a hit without Steven Adams. I think as we've kind of alluded to before, the adult in the room is no longer on the floor for them. So I think that can be a detriment to them. So I got Phoenix and LA out of the West, and the East. The East is a little bit more cut and dry to me. It's easily gonna be Milwaukee and Boston in the East. I feel like that was a lot more cut and dry. They're the two best teams. I fully expect James Harden to do some James Harden things in the playoffs and kind of disappear. As good as Embiid is, I don't think he can carry them through an entire playoffs by himself. That first stone wall of adversity, and James Harden is ready to hit the strip club. You feel me? That man said he needs some wings. He's trying to get out of
look,
it.
I mean, if we being honest, right? This is a good situation for him. He can stay in all the East Coast strip clubs. He's going to have the New York strip clubs and the Philly strip clubs now. This is a great trip for him. We know, hey, look, at least they're not playing the Hawks. If they was playing the Hawks, we know he would have a terrible series because Magic City would have a hold of him. Okay, so I'm with you. So out of the East, though, then, Mase, all right, so we're looking at all these series. Who's in the conference finals?
For the East, it's Milwaukee and Boston.
You're confident it's going to end up being a 1-2 matchup then?
I really those two teams are just a little bit ahead of everybody else. Like I said, the Philadelphia thing for me is basically just comes down to I'm never going to be confident in James Harden's playoff performances, regardless of what team he's on or who he's with. He's not. I mean, he's shown it. Like he's not going to show up in playoff series.
Hey, look, you know how I feel about James Harden. You know I don't trust that man for nothing. This goes back actually to the conversation that we were having when we were talking to the group the other day, Mase, which is, hey, Luka Doncic is just white James Harden. That's all he is. If you go back and look at Houston time of James Harden, that's Luka Doncic. It's the same exact things that we used to say about James, which is that we don't know if he can play with another superstar. We don't know how much better he actually makes his teammates. All that stuff we said about James Harden is the same stuff we saying about Luka. So I understand where you were at, where you say, hey, I don't trust this dude, because how many times have we seen him in the playoffs after he done had this massive regular season, he get in the playoffs and pisses down his leg in the greatest form ever. So I feel you there, but I actually view the East differently. I actually think it's going to be Milwaukee and Philly in the conference finals. And the reason I tell you that is, while you don't trust James Harden, I don't trust Jason Tatum. You know why? Because he's not efficient, Mase. You know I've talked about this for years, and this has been my argument against Kobe Bryant when you compare him against the other all-time greats of the game, right? Which is that efficiency matters. And Jason Tatum is not efficient. He is an ultimate, I'm going to go out here and take the shot even if it's a bad shot kind of guy. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I think that team is great, but when they go up against Philadelphia, because we know, look, Brooklyn, y'all got in the playoffs because Kevin Durant and Kyrie was backpacking y'all boys, and now y'all just happen to just still slide in because you played decent enough that you got in, right? So they're out of the picture. So when those two teams meet, I think Embiid is gonna go crazy on them boys, Mase. Look, Embiid is the MVP this year, without any question in my mind. They do not have an answer for him in Boston. You think them boys that they've been hyping up for years, you think they can handle Embiid?
Well, I don't think it's so much as they can handle Embiid. I think it's just one of those deals where Embiid's going to get his regardless of who he's playing. But like I said, the rest of the crew for me in Philly just ain't going to play up to what Embiid needs them to play up to. That's really what it comes down to for me.
I'm going to say it right now, Mase. Embiid has an all-time series against the Celtics. Mark my words. He's going to have an all-time. One of them series where we look back and be like, win or lose, we're going to be looking at him like, yo, you was going crazy, bruh. So the James Harden thing does scare me, though, Mase. I won't lie to you. James Harden, that means I'm putting some of my faith in him. And, ooh, boy, you know I don't trust him.
Yeah, say like I said, I feel like you need to go take a nap and wake up and reevaluate what you just said, because you're gonna think about this. James Harden, you really expect James Harden to be the second star on a team that's good?
look. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Okay. Okay. Embiid, I feel like, is at a level right now where he's a get in my backpack guy, right? So Harden doesn't actually have to go crazy in order for them to win. That's where my confidence lies in this. Because if you look outside of the roster, outside of Harden and Embiid, they have very good players at every position. They may not have like a whole bunch of superstars in line, right? But all their guys are better than pretty much every other team in the East is role players, right? So I'm looking at them and I'm saying, y'all don't need James Harden to go crazy. You just need him to not shoot you out of a series. You need him to keep playing the way he's been playing the entire season after about 15, 20 games in when they were just like, all right, dog, we're done with this. We just going to Embiid, okay? Keep playing that way. I don't see how you beat them because they have the shooting around Embiid and their defense is good enough, even with James Harden, old turnstile defense itself. You know what I mean? Like, even with him out there, they still play good enough defense. So I just got confidence. And on top of that, Mase, for me, why I'm not so worried about James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. That's why. Because they have another option that says you can handle the ball for us and make it happen too. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't worry. So moving on though. Well, hold on. Let's ask Darrell. Who you got coming out the East? Because I know you got beef with all types of teams that are in the playoffs right now. So who you got coming out the East?
Bucks and Celtics. I got Bucks and Celtics. In the West, I have Lakers and Golden State. I'm not playing with y'all hype thing. This is always the same 5 people every year.
Well, here's the problem. It can't be the Lakers and Golden State because if they both win their first round series, they will be playing in the second round and we will get Steph and LeBron in the second round of the playoffs.
Okay, then it's automatically Warriors in at this point. It's automatically Warriors.
He ain't got no faith in nobody. He said, look, it don't matter. It don't matter who they bring, what team it is, where we playing at, what planet it's on. He said Warriors in 6.
and you talking about like Sixers. I'm not even gonna use the bias at this point. You just better hope no one gets injured on the Sixers while going the way. That's all I'm saying.
Don't say that.
It happens.
Don't put that juju on them.
It happens. There's someone just gonna like, ooh, I sprained something, and then after that, it's like it's all over. It's all.
Don't put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby.
You can say what you want, but you know it's a fact. Sixers always goof up. You always have James Harden doing something dumb. Come on now, you think he's a positive for that team? Come on, the man. What he's a Ronda Rousey of that squad right now. Go ahead. Declare that I'm alive. Go ahead.
Ronda, bro?
No work, Ronda. Yep, that's what it is. No work.
Ronda?
He's the Ronda of the squad.
Wow.
That's wild. Ronda? That's cold. Listen, that's cold. Listen, I don't trust James, but Ronda?
Hey, you over here saying, I don't trust James Harden. I don't have my faith in James Harden. It hurts me to even say something about the Sixers without saying James Harden. Come on now. Stop. You know the bad luck is the bad luck. It's like saying, hey, Westbrook is going to carry the squad. Cut it out. Cut it out.
What you talking about? Westbrook he got the Clippers on his back.
Oh, you got the Clippers on his back? So you saying the Clippers beating the Suns?
No, not at all.
I
just picked this. Just because he got the team on his back, don't mean they're gonna get carried very far.
When you say someone has something on their back, they're doing most of the weight.
That don't mean they're gonna get carried very far.
No.
Yeah,
when you say
my boy out there,
when you say someone has something,
he got the swag back, bro.
Nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't use that term and say, hey, they're not going to win. No, not at all. So, you know what?
Sometimes people put on a backpack that's too big for them and they fall over. What you mean?
Okay, so he has a backpack full of rocks.
Possibly, you know.
And all
They're
the
not
rocks,
listen.
and
The Clippers just have the unfortunate first round matchup. I'm just put it to you like that because, I'm not sure. What's the status on Paul George right now? Like, where's
He
his?
out for this, but he is out for this series. So, well, since y'all talking about it, I'm gonna tell you right now before y'all even ask me. Yes, I am revising my pick of the Clippers being the dangerous team in the West. Them boys about to get put out in 6. Okay, Kawhi gonna wheel them boys to 2 victories, but they out in 6. Because look, here's one thing that I know. You may have your questions about Chris Paul. You may have your questions about Devin Booker. You may have your questions about DeAndre Ayton. But you know who you ain't got no questions about? Kevin Mother in Durant, okay?
Did you see my man numbers this year? 55% from the field, 40% for 3, and 90 from the free throw line.
That's nice.
Bruh.
That's nice, but all I'm gonna say,
No, that's not nice, bro.
That's
that
nice.
doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's nice.
That doesn't happen from a guy that's a primarily mid-range shooter. That doesn't happen. That's like some stuff that Shaq does because he's just always dunking on people.
That's nice.
Legitimately, statistically, if you compare it, like if I understand Durant didn't play the same amount of games as these guys in these seasons, but it's seasons like LeBron in Miami, Michael Jordan in I believe it'd be 92, 93, and then the 96 season. You're looking at like statistical seasons. That's how good Durant basically was this year. If you stretch it out for him playing more games, obviously he missed a good chunk of the season. We know that, but if you're just looking at based on his performance, yes, he was on that type of track this year, Darrell. He was out of control. Legitimately, Kevin Durant, if he's on the Suns, he's winning the MVP.
Yeah, he was my mid-season MVP when we first made our initial, just because his listen, it goes beyond efficiency with that man, bro. He's just too good. He gets any shot he wants to, anytime he wants to, and there's literally nothing nobody can do about it. And there hasn't been anything anybody can do about it since like his second year in the league.
Hey,
all right, so
people pull up shovels, and like you just might have that one bad game, and stuff happens, and those stats go out the window. It's okay. We can rely on freaking KD for a couple games, but there's no faith in me for that. I'm sorry. There's no faith.
You don't have any faith?
I have no faith. No faith.
How do you not have any faith in Durant when my boy was literally putting Golden State on his back?
Yeah, how many years ago?
And look what he's done since when he's on the court. He has the team on his back.
He didn't do nothing when he was on the Nets. And don't even start.
Because those teams were terrible. That man had a whole city in his backpack trying to take them to the promised land.
What happened?
He's skinny, bro. He like you. He ain't got no muscles to be carrying people like that.
Okay, you going to throw some short jabs. Okay, just all I'm going to say
is hold on, you know what? Hey, look, hold on. I'm just saying, Darrell, Kevin Durant should be your king. The skinny man king out there, dog. That should be your guy. They're like, if anybody in the NBA, that he should be your number one. He holding it down for all the super slim dudes like you.
I believe in the light skin assassin. So at the end of the day, Golden State, screw the Suns, screw the Clippers. They both are they're just chess pieces right now. That's all they are right now, chess pieces.
Well, here's what I'm about to shock y'all. Golden State going home in the first round.
You want to bet?
I'm gonna say it to you right now. Golden State's going home in the first round, and you want to know why? Because that team is flawed. That team is very flawed right now. Steph put that team on his back last year. Yes, 100%. We understand. I know they're playing a young team in Sacramento and all this. But listen, I understand majority of us have not really watched the Sacramento Kings play basketball this year. But I just want to throw a stat line at y'all real quick. Okay. Sabonis this year playing 79 games, averaged 19 points a game, Mase, right? Only taking 12 shots a game. Okay. So let's start there. On top of that, my man averaged 12.3 rebounds a game, Mase. Do you know what his field goal percentage was on the year? Do you know? 61 damn percent. You want to talk about a walking bucket out there right now? Look, if anybody watched Sacramento, okay, Sabonis would get some MVP votes this year because that man is balling out of control. And look, Draymond guarding him, that's a bad matchup for Draymond. That puts Draymond in foul trouble. Because look, as much as we love that Warriors team, over the past 2 seasons, I've seen a significant decline in one player's effectiveness for them, and that's Draymond Green. And that's not good because outside of Steph Curry, the number 2 most important player on that team during this entire dynasty has been Draymond Green. I know
his
some
ability
people
to defend, his ability to defend has definitely made up for a lot of other weaknesses in that team. Because they didn't have like individual defenders, but he was the only individual defender that you can be like, I can check my man when I need to. And if he can't check his man, it's bad news bears.
Yeah, it's I don't see how Draymond's going to be able to stop Sabonis in this. Steph, we already know he's not a defender. He's never been that. So him and Fox are both going to be going crazy because neither of them play any defense, right? so we know what that is. Like, hey, Steph, man, please don't ever take this as disrespect. I love you. I've loved you since you was at Davidson, brother. But defense ain't your thing, and that's okay. That is okay. I get it. Defense ain't really what you do. That's okay. Not every greatest player of all time for a franchise was a defender. Some people is Rob Sampson. All offense, baby. It is what it is. I'm not faulting you for it. All I'm saying is that it's about to be turnstile at them guard positions, right? We already know that. I think this series is going to come down to Sabonis versus Draymond. And I think Draymond is going to have some serious, serious problems. Because, look, Sabonis, if we talk about the best big man in the league, as we currently stand, he's probably my like number 4, number 5 guy. Because I'd put Jokic, Embiid, street clothes, and then it'd probably be his Sabonis. I know some people will be like, well, what about Big Cat? I'm sorry, that's a guard playing center. He's not a big man. He don't play like a big man. He is tall man. He is not big man. There is a difference.
I'm just gonna allow y'all to fall on y'all nails, and I'm gonna just watch the playoffs. And if that first round thing happens, I'll congratulate y'all. But if it doesn't happen, you're the first one I'm striking. First one.
Hey, look, sorry that I got Webos to make a pick and not just go chalk and be like, oh, it's going to be the 1 and 2 seed. Sorry, I got some Webos around here.
Yeah, how did it work last year?
What you mean, bro? In the West, I'm picking a 4 and a 7 seed. What you talking about?
I mean, you got some Webos. I was more so talking about Darrell.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, I know the East kind of fell that way, but
I'm talking about Mr. Chalk.
Okay.
But all right, so you said who you're taking. Well, you just made it very clear, right? So you are taking Phoenix and LA to be in the conference finals. That's where you're going, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I said, the crux of Memphis is the fact that they're not going to have somebody to control the temperament of that team out there. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this will probably be a 7-game series if Memphis just speeds them up and makes them play fast. But at the same time, there's going to be times where Memphis needs somebody to check street clothes, and Steven Adams was that guy. I don't know who else they can roll out there.
The problem is, even as great as the year as Jackson has had for them, right, where he should legitimately, if not win the Defensive Player of the Year award, he should be getting a lot of first place votes for this. It should be very close if he does not win it, right? He is a lot like Bam, where Bam is going to be effective against 95% of the big men that are in the league. But when you go up against those elite guys, it didn't look the same. You know what I mean? So I'm with you there. Crazy part, Mase, I agree with you 100%. I've actually got Phoenix and LA in the conference finals too. And my logic on this is, I already told you, I think that Golden State's going to lose. I think this is the year where they finally have a little fallback, right? Because throughout all the stuff that's happened, they really haven't had fallback. But, you know, the year that Steph got hurt, I don't really count that. That was... if any team loses their best player, they're gonna suck that year. You know what I mean? Like,
it's just what it is.
So I don't really count that. But like when Steph has been there, they haven't really had a fallback year since they started being a championship level team. I think this is finally that year where it catches up to them. Because look, man, Sacramento is not a good matchup for them. I know people are going to think it is, but dog, Klay Thompson's defense and his offense are not as good as they used to be. I don't care how good he's played at moments during this season. He is not the same Klay Thompson he was not even 4 years ago, okay? Not even close to the same guy. So they're going to have some problems in this series. So I think that's their issue.
Another thing about that matchup real quick here before we move on to another one, Golden State is terrible on the road. I don't know if y'all boys know this, but they lost like 30-some odd games on the road.
And just for context, for everybody that wants to know, I'm sure you're wondering, well, in the championship years, how many games were they winning on the road? A lot. That's part of how they were getting to 60, 70 games. They were winning a lot on the road, okay? But this is why I think LA is going to get there. So the Lakers, they got Memphis. I don't trust Memphis for nothing. Look, I loved Ja Morant, but his actions over the course of this season has shown me he's not somebody that I think has the mentality that I can count on in the playoffs. Because look, everything that he did, we could talk about the actions, you know, individually, blah, 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 whatever. That ain't what I'm trying to do. I'm talking just the macro part of this. Does not bleed to me or show me leadership at all. It does not show that. And when your best player on your team is not the leader, and y'all don't have Steven Adams, who is the only adult on that team. And look, I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm not calling grown men children. Understand something. When I say adult in the room, look, we all grew up watching sports. Except every era except for this modern era of sports, teams have always valued having a veteran leader on the team. Somebody that makes sure that when the young guys start losing their mind, we bring it all together and things don't go too crazy. Steven Adams is that guy for that team. And we've already seen them fellas on that team have a tendency to act really irresponsible, whether it's on or off the court. So I don't trust them. I think Memphis goes home in 6 games because they will have no answer for Anthony Street Clothes Davis. They will have no answer for him. Mase, I guess we can be nice. We can call him Anthony Street Clothes Davis now because he's been on the floor. So, but he's still street clothes because he won landing away.
He won grimace away. What did Reggie say? When he grimaced, that's 3 weeks. Hey, my man is 1 grimace away, dog. Like, hey, every time that man hit the floor, my heart hit the floor, boy. I be every time he hit the flow, I hit the flow, man. Listen.
So we will see what happens there, but. On the other side of that bracket, Mase, we got to talk about this, right? Because we're both picking some major upsets. we're not even gonna talk about Minnesota and Denver. We both know Denver's coming out of the series. Nobody on this show trusts anybody on Minnesota except for Anthony Edwards. The entire roster, we don't trust them except for Ant. Okay, that's it. Not Rudy. I'm gonna punch my own teammate Gobert. Hey, which by the way, I know y'all want to know probably how we feel on that. We talk about that for a second. I ain't mad at Rudy. A man call you a B word. Yeah, look, I have maintained for years in the world of men, certain things is fighting words. You call another man the B word, them's is fighting words. Because you saying that I'm soft, I'm scared, you feel like you could fold me up. I say, hey, okay, well, we going to see about that then. How you feel, Mace? You think Rudy was wrong?
Nah, bro, you can't. Like I said, you can't test my man, especially in front of other men. You can't try me right there in that situation.
He was emotional. He was triggered. That's his fault.
Hey, bro, you can't try me right there. Rudy probably has, he flew probably some of his family in. You know what I'm saying? They was probably sitting a couple rows back, heard this man disrespecting him. He had to. I don't listen. I'm right there with Rudy. I'm pretty sure the team did not want to suspend Rudy for that game. They just had to from the optics of it. But one game for. I feel like that's one of those things where a guy gets suspended longer. I mean, the league didn't even step in and do nothing. It was just like the team had to for the optics of it.
The thing for me about it is just that Rudy Gobert has been put in an impossible situation by being put on that team, right? Because he's supposed to be the veteran leadership on that team, right? And it's kind of been evident by how guys treat Rudy Gobert and talk about him that a lot of guys in the league don't like him, maybe / respect him, so he gets it's a weird dynamic with him. So I don't think that team even respects him as that guy. Because look, like I said, Cat is tall man, not big man. Rudy Gobert is big man. So I'm sure there's a lot of funny looking going on in that team when guys is looking at Rudy like, oh man, why ain't you blocking shots? And he like, what about this other 7-foot dude out here? I don't see y'all saying damn word.
Y'all don't say nothing about his lack of defense.
You don't say nothing. Oh, you ain't got nothing to say about Cat disappearing in the second half of that game against the Lakers, but you gonna call me the B word. Oh, okay, cool. Got you, bro. Got you. I understand how we playing. That's why I said Rudy Gobert. I ain't mad at you. I ain't even judging you. I don't even think he was wrong. Because Mace, I know you can attest to this. That ain't the first time I didn't see teammates throw punches at each other. And I didn't see that happen in real life. So that ain't the first time, and it won't be the last. I mean, for goodness sake, didn't we start this season with Draymond knocking Jordan Poole out?
That's how the NBA season started. My man Jordan Poole got folded up in practice. Hey, my man, the knees buckled in practice, boy. Hey,
look, I'm gonna say it again. Jordan Poole, you put your hands on another grown man, you better be ready to fight, player. Like I don't understand. I will never, to this day, Mace, I will never understand these cats that think they can put their hands on somebody and then it's all good. No, baby, you done violated my space. All the rules is off. I get to beat your brakes off now.
Yeah, all these. You think you just gonna have a shoving match? Nah, my boy.
You shove me one time, I'm coming back with a fist.
You better hope ain't no objects around because I'm over 30. I'm taking you out the quickest way I can. If that's a chair or a bottle or a nightstand or something, you know what I'm saying? I gotta take you out.
Where are you finding a nightstick at random?
Bro, you don't know. You never know. That's the point. You never know. At this point in my age, I got to do something that's going to shock in all the system to let you know that this ain't going to turn out the way you want it to. I'm not about to square up.
I'm going to just hit you with one of them Farouk spine busters. That's what I'm gonna do.
Listen, bro,
I'm gonna spear you at the waist, right? I'm gonna make sure I get low. I'm gonna spear you at your waist, lift you up, and then throw you. Just throw you.
Listen, bro, nobody remembers if you had a fair fight. All they remember is if you won or lost. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, he lost, but he squared up with him, though. You know what I'm saying? They squared up, No, nobody cares about that, bro. Ain't nobody gonna be like, he might have lost, but it was a fair fight. No.
Look, man, I have my number one rule for fighting somebody in the street is there are no rules. Okay?
I will
there ain't no rules.
In the nuts. I do what I gotta do. Nobody cares.
I'm gonna be as clear as possible. It's my life or yours, and I'm trying to walk away with mine. That's the way that I feel. I have a psychopath inside of me, yes, where it's like when that switch flips, it's my life or yours, baby.
Like I said, bro, people be wild out here trying to have fair fights.
But nigga, this is not the UFC.
We don't get paid
the WBC, the WBA.
We're not getting paid for this. I'm trying to walk out of this situation unscathed because I got work tomorrow, player. You know what I'm saying? I got bills to pay, bro.
Or it might just be my first day of my weekend, and I'm trying to enjoy the second one. So
yeah. I'm trying to walk out of this unscathed. So if a bottle to the side of your head is gonna get me there quicker, that's just what it's gonna be.
But we've gotten way distracted. Talk about fighting, all because of Rudy Gobert. I love it. The French guy gets us talking about fighting. How wild is that? But so Mase, all right. So what you're saying is Phoenix is going to basically put pause on both the Clippers and Denver. Do you think? Are you saying it's going to be like convincing? Or is it going to be close series?
I think the Clippers will be a closer series than Denver will. The Clippers present the defensive problems. Like you said, I'm pretty sure there's no getting around Durant doing what he's got to do, but I don't see this being a good series for Booker or Ayton. And I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what Chris Paul got left in the tank, to be honest with you, man. I think it's one of those deals where he's just trying to hold on to hopefully get a championship. But if this Suns team don't make it and they have to make some roster decisions next year, I could definitely see Chris Paul retiring after this season. Just simply for the fact is like you can't keep trying to hold on. Like we know Chris Paul ain't got nothing left in the tank no more. We've seen it.
You're not wrong. Yeah, so for me, I kind of feel the same way. I just think, though, that Denver is going to give them a little bit of a trouble. I can see that series going 6 to 7 games. This Clippers one, though, look, as awesome as Kawhi has been this year, because in case you guys don't know, Kawhi this year was a 50, 40, 90 guy. So it's pretty wild. For those that don't know, that's insane. But I don't see that roster being good enough to beat them in a series. And it's because the way that roster is constituted currently, at some point that means Russell Westbrook has to make some shots. And I love Russell Westbrook because he is always going hard. But in the playoffs, that man turned into Westbrook. So I don't see that happening. So I see them easily dispatching with the Clippers. And on top of that, Kawhi going to have to work hard. He's going to have to guard Kevin Durant. And y'all might want to go look back over the history of them two playing. But he don't slow Kevin Durant down either, dog. Hey, so
if you can't see my hand right now, I'm giving him the mouse in the house right now because listen, Durant gives everybody the business.
Yes. Well, I mean, it looks like we should have some interesting playoff series, though. I think the real fun series, though, for the most part, will end up starting in round 2. But Each and every week, ladies and gentlemen, we take a trip into the mind of a madman. Except this week, it's not Mace's Badness. It's the original Spann Shenanigans host. What's happening? Woo! That's right. That's right. So, here to have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of serious, and, all that good stuff. So, let's start at the top here with my number one story, and that is a big thank you to Jonathan Toews. He played his last game as a professional hockey player this week, and I have to give a big shout out to Jonathan Toews because as a Chicago sports fan, watching the journey of Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews go from being top prospects that we're hoping can get us to the cup to us winning 3 cups with those guys is some of my fondest sports memories as a Chicago sports fan. Jonathan Toews has been nothing but exemplary over his time as the Blackhawks captain. I mean, Mace, you're talking about a dude who's been the captain basically from his rookie year on, so got to give my shout outs to Jonathan Toews. Most definitely the eyes, saying the eyes, my eyes was itchy. It was a little bit itchy when I was watching the video.
Hey, them allergies was acting up.
Yeah. I'm saying my eyes got a little bit itchy. You know what I'm saying? So I have to say a big thank you to him though, because look, man, Jonathan Toews has been awesome, man. Has been awesome. So yeah. But moving forward here, so we've talked about paying athletes on the ITC brand for college athletes since it began, right? Since the start of this, we've talked about paying athletes, and a lot of these coaches, including Dabo Luther Sweeney, including him, they've had such objections to everything and such. Oh God, how can we do this? Why are we paying these athletes? If y'all do this, I'm out. Well, here's another coach putting his foot in his mouth. Tom Izzo this week. Okay. When he was basically being asked about the transfer portal, this is a direct quote, people, and this comes from Nathan Callum Lamb on Twitter. He works for 247sports.com. This is what Tom Izzo says, Mace. I don't know if you've seen these yet, so I can't wait. Cannot wait for you to hear this. All right. So he says, and I quote, "I'm a bad guy to talk about the portal because it's ridiculous. I think all of the people that thought it might be a good idea to give kids some freedom, I don't think they feel that way today. To transfer wherever you want, leave whenever you want, do whatever you want. I'm glad it wasn't that way when I was in school because I would have made a lot of bad mistakes. And before it's all said and done, the biggest losers will be all the people who thought they were the biggest winners. And that's the kids, the players, the students. Not a fan of it. But there are a lot of things I'm not a fan of what I have to do. I'll try to do the best I can. It makes things hard. It's like we put a jail around all the kids on our campus to try and keep people from poaching our kids." Mr. Izzo, I know your panties is in a bunch. Sorry to all our female viewers. I ain't trying to say nothing, but y'all, I'm a 90s dude, baby. What's how I was born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s. You know what I mean by that, ladies. There's plenty of men out there that's wearing the panties too. Not just some of y'all. Hey, some of y'all ladies out there, y'all got the pants on in your house. Okay, I know this. This is facts. Y'all ain't the one with panties on. Okay, all right. But you got his panties in a bunch here. And he's crying, whining. Oh my God, the players have freedom. Oh no, this isn't fair. I actually have to work harder and do my job and actually treat these people like human beings. Oh no. Oh no. Mr. Izzo, if you want things to go better, treat your players better, coach better. It's that simple. These athletes are under no obligation to bend the knee to you. None. You don't play a damn minute out there, Izzo. Not one. So stop it. Stop making it all about you because you simply entitled coaches want to complain because now the players have power and the power dynamic has changed and you guys cannot just be Bobby Knight out there anymore. So miss me with the BS. Now, moving on to our next story. Speaking of Dabo Luther Sweeney himself, one of the guys that he has worked closely with over the years in the strength and conditioning has been somebody that has worked now with Georgia also. And that man's name is Mark Taylor. That is right, people. I don't know if you done heard about Mark Taylor, but this week a video was put out showing his racism. So a man who makes majority of his money off of the backs of black athletes decided to say, when he was sitting in his truck and videoing and thinking that, hey, nobody's gonna tell on me, I'm good old boy Mark. He decided to insinuate that he would lynch a woman just for trying to get out in traffic in front of him. Then on top of that, people put out other videos where he's consistently saying the N-word. And look, I'm going to tell you something. He didn't say black woman. He said hard R, okay? Multiple times. This is a guy who has consistently tried to say that he views these athletes as family and all this and all that, all that BS. This type of stuff, people, is why we try and tell y'all there is still a whole lot of racism out there. As much as some of you guys don't want to believe it, it is the truth. And this is just another piece of evidence. Now, why am I bringing up Mark Taylor in the context of all of this in our sports show? Because as a man who makes majority of his money off the athletes that are black, I think he should be destitute. That's how I feel about racists. If you want to be racist, cool. Your prerogative. I think you should be destitute then. Feel sorry for the people around him because their lives about to get a lot worse because this dummy wanted to be a racist. So I hope that teaches all of you guys in that family a lesson, which is don't be a racist.
It's the wildest thing to me. I'm honestly just tired of people trying to glaze over racism like small pockets of ignorance, like it only happens in certain areas. No, stop that. It's everywhere. I can get on my soapbox every week and bring some new racist evidence to y'all. I could turn these lights red every week and talk about somebody being racist. I could. But I had to let Jerome take the wheels this week though, because y'all boys got me tired out here.
And just for context, people, while I move on to the next one, 96% of his clientele is black.
But yet he all thinks they're the N-words with the hard R's. He doesn't respect them as people. But yet, if they can make him some money, get out there and work for me. That sounds a little.
So he seems a lot like Leonardo DiCaprio in Django. That's all I'm saying. But moving forward here, people, we have got, while we're here at racism, might as well talk about some more of it. So, a group of Antioch police officers are under FBI investigation after their racist messages and other misconduct was discovered. This story was reported on by theroot.com. Great work done by Kaylin Womack on this piece. I'm not going to read everything to you, but I just want to basically make you aware. It wasn't just one cop. It was basically the entire division, the entire office of police that were using consistent racist language against black people, the hard R, consistently, and also were consistently bragging about how they love beating up black people. But y'all, some of y'all out there, again and again, trying to just tell me it's a few bad apples. It's not all of them. It's just a few bad apples. It's the whole department there. So which one's is the good apples then? If it's the whole department, which one's the good apples? I'm just trying to figure it out, B. That's all I want to know. Who's the good apple? Because that's Mase. Isn't that what we hear every time we hear?
Listen, man.
Oh, it's bad. It's a few bad apples. It's a whole damn department.
I'm gonna tell you something. If there are a few bad apples on the force, and the good apples don't weed them out, they're the bad apples too. That's the secret right there.
And for some of y'all dummies that only want to use one part of that expression, you must have forgot how that expression ends. It goes, a few bad apples spoils the bunch. So again, we need to correct these issues in society. Have serious reforms. Hold the police accountable. Get rid of things like qualified immunity.
Definitely.
Because there's no accountability. None.
Yeah, like you said, man, if the good apples don't kick the bad apples out, they might as well be bad apples too. It's plain and simple. Yep. And that's the thing. People, when people feel comfortable around you, they're gonna show you who they are. And if you don't, it's not like these people don't work together and don't know who these other people are. Come on, man. Y'all gotta be.
This is why we film the police. This is why.
Facts. And just to
speaking
round
of
this
filming
out for
y'all,
the
police, but hold up. I think it's Florida. I think they're trying to pass a bill where you can't film the police.
It's against the First Amendment. You can't do it. It's press.
Yeah, well, Captain Ron got to keep up with Trump.
Well, he automatically failed with that one.
Give me a moment. We'll get to Captain Ron.
Oh.
But to round out this discussion about the police, these are direct text messages, people. Just want you to understand this. This is the language they were using. When speaking about just a person, just a regular person, a regular citizen, I'll bury that hard R in my fields. And he spelled out the Nigger. Okay, he wouldn't just say hard R. I'm just doing that because I know we got children on listening to us too. The hard R in my fields. And yes, it was a hard R on purpose. And you know what they said back to him? Ha, there's no accidents with you on that. So again, reform and accountability to the people that have the ability to ruin someone's life, kill them, and take their freedom. Accountability is key. All of us got accountability in our jobs. Why aren't we holding them accountable? Ask yourself that. But moving on here, we have to talk about something that's quite absurd and I know affects a lot of people out here. So the latest inflation data came out this week, people, in case you didn't know. I do pay attention to these things. I try and pay attention to where costs are going. So the price of breakfast cereal is up 14% over last year. Here's the crazy part, though. Post, General Mills, and Kellogg's control about 80% of the market. All three increased their profit margins in the most recent reporting they had. But wait, if inflation was infecting y'all the business, that means y'all shouldn't have been making a big profit. It should have just been breaking y'all even again, right? It's why I tell you, people, stop listening to the BS that these corporations try and tell you. They will lie to you. They will give you every reason in the world why they have to keep everybody poor and keep these rich guys rich. They will tell you over and over. Look, man, I have a problem with somebody being rich, but I have a serious problem with the absolute income inequality that we have in this country, because it does not make any sense that people that do the least amount of the work get majority of the money. It does not make any sense that corporations do things like stock buyback that don't help their everyday workers that are making them the money. They are just helping the corporate goons who hold the stock. So again, it's cool to be rich, but there should be a balance in our society. And stuff like this clearly shows you, dog, there's always going to be an excuse to why they say they need to drive up the price and raise the price. They used inflation, and that turned out to be a crock. I know there'll be some people who will be like, oh, no, they should have been able to make a profit. They figured out ways to squeeze more revenue. No, they didn't. They did the most basic thing economic possible, okay, which is, hey, we'll give people less product and charge them more money. Like, come on, baby. This is rudimentary economic stuff. All I'm saying is, how much longer are we going to sit here and believe the nonsense that comes out of these corporations' mouth? Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't be believing them. I really don't. Corporations is full of it. Now, moving forward here, we have to talk about a story that Mase actually brought up in his madness previously, which was the GOP Florida Republican Webster Barnaby comparing trans people to the X-Men. So, look, what he said was patently some of the most wild, crazy, nonsensical stuff I've ever heard, right? It was wild. If you go back and watch the clip, like, because look, for y'all that don't know and haven't watched it, he goes on for 2 minutes. This isn't just like, oh, he said one. No, the whole 2 minutes, you like, bruh, stop talking. You're not helping. But he's caught in Trump world, right? So he has to do what he has to do. But the reason why I want to bring this up, and I just find it hilarious that he compared him to the X-Men. It is just hilarious that a dude espousing bigotry and hate used the X-Men as an example when they were the comic that was built to go against bigotry and hate. How stupid do you gotta be? You gotta be real dumb. So look, I just want to say to anybody trans out there that listens to our product, look, man, we ain't got no beef with you around here. Our beef is with the racist. Okay, that's where our beef comes. Racism. We ain't got, look, around here we believe just live your life, baby. Let people be happy. If it don't affect you, why do I care? I know it's gonna sound crude to some of my trans people and some of my gay people out there, but look, I'm saying this so the straight people understand what I'm saying. Look, man, I ain't gotta S that D. That ain't my mouth. My mouth's still over here with me. So why am I worried about it? Because I'm not. Because I don't care. Because it's not my life. And they have a right to be happy too. So again, we got to stop letting people try and pass off their bigotry and mask it behind these are my religious beliefs and all that BS, right? We got to stop that and just call hate, hate. Do not allow hate to exist in this world. Try and spread love. It is amazing what having love in someone's life can do for them and change their life. Spread love, people. Do not spread hate like some of these bigots are out here doing. But moving forward here, got to give a shout out to our guy, Greg Popovich. And if y'all ain't see, Greg Popovich went hard on on April 9th, dog. He went super hard. And he called out quite a few politicians by name, including one of the dudes that, boy, we didn't clown around here for a while. And that's old. They may say his real name. I like the way you be saying it. Say his real Teddy.
Oh, Raphael Cruz? Raphael? Edward? That guy?
Yes. So Mr. Raphael, including Raphael Edward Cruz, okay, right? Some of y'all know him as Ted Cruz. I don't know how that works, but okay.
Ted sounds relatable, bro. I'm gonna break it. I'll break it down to you. Ted sounds relatable.
I see. Yeah, because look, if he was out there running on the GOP talking about my name is Raphael Eduardo Cruz, they'd be like, nah.
We'll pass on you.
we'll go with Tom over here. We're not rocking with you.
Yeah.
Or Greg.
Ted is a good old boy you grew up with. I'm just being real, bro. You can't just.
Hey, you know about Texas more than I do. Like Texas is your area of expertise. I don't pretend to be a Texas expert.
To the people listening, I'm just be real to you. That's what it came down to. Ted is a whole lot more relatable to Texas voters than Raphael is.
Yeah. Well, he called them out again because, again, after we've had more mass shootings at places, we hear the same BS that we hear out of a lot of, especially GOP politicians' mouths, which is, we can't do anything. We can't blame the gun. We don't need to talk about it now. It's getting politicized. Look, man, I said something on this show a couple years ago, and I said it again probably about a year ago. And I'm going to say it to y'all one more time. If we cannot make changes after babies are getting killed in schools, we got some real effing problems in this country. Because there is no logic in the world that you can give me that says that children should feel unsafe in their school, that a child should be worried about somebody potentially coming and murdering them in a school with a gun. We have to start. Look, you have to understand, I believe that as citizens, especially as a Black citizen, hey, man, we should all be able to own a gun, but there should be limitations to what you can own. Because look, remember something, as a aware Black person, there's always part of me that's side-eyeing the government like, So
listen, I remember a time whenever America started outlawing AK-47s when dark-skinned individuals started coming across those at a high rate. They had no problem banning guns then.
Here's the crazy part. So literally, if you go and trace the actual roots of why, like where places like the NRA and stuff started trying to get people to buy more of these assault style weapons, right? It all comes down to money. It has nothing to do with you wanting to be more protected or keeping your family safer, any of that. It has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with making more money. That's it. Because before, guess what? They weren't making like money off of those products. But then as soon as they can keep putting fear in your mind and make you believe that you got to have these guns because that's the only way you're going to be safe, they just have made money hand over foot. And look, I'm sorry. American lives, especially children's lives, are way more valuable to me than any corporation's need to make profit will ever be. And if your morality is not in line with that, you might want to look at the man in the mirror. It's not me that there's the problem with. What I'm saying is sensible. I'm not ever going to be a person that says, take away all guns, get rid of them all. That's stupid. First off, there's still stuff like the KKK out there. So us as Black people, like I said, we gotta be ready. But again, there should be limitations to what everybody in this country is able to own based off of using your sense. There is a statistical fact. Using a weapon like a AR in your home as self-defense, you put your family and anybody else in that home more at risk because those bullets will go through walls. They will go through all types of stuff. You put your neighbors and stuff at risk too. They are weapons of war made to be fighting in wars. So my point in bringing all this up to you people is, at some point, when do we care about people more than profit?
Remember when Columbine was the outlier? Remember when that happened and it was on the news for like 3 years because that stuff doesn't happen. Now you can't even talk about a school getting shot up for more than 2 days because it probably didn't happen somewhere else after that.
And I mean, hey, and also let me just point out to you, to those same people who are always like, oh, we should just put more armed guards inside the school. Mother trucker, a bank employee just murdered the guards and stuff inside of a bank. A bank is way more secure than a school. Adding more guns doesn't fix that. So at some point, people, all I'm saying is we got to start valuing human life over profit. Because at the end of the day, all of these guns are only in our society because of profit. That's it. It's very, very simple. And got 2 more stories for you people, and then we're moving on here, and we're going to get into Mace's mock draft. Number 1, I just want to bring up, I just want to give a quick shout out to, and hold on, let me make sure I look at this. Economist Dr. William Darity Jr. and A. Kirsten Mullen, because boy, they got asked to go on CBS on prime time and talk about California's reparations, and they was out there making the case for national reparations. So I just want to say shout out to y'all for making a real case and spitting that truth in that moment that you had. You was like, hey, we about to take this moment and make it real. So I appreciate y'all. I take my hat off to y'all. I tip my hat, everything. Appreciate it. Keep doing y'all work. That is a beautiful thing what y'all out there doing. Somebody was like, hey, look, it's on my Twitter. April 9th. It is a masterclass what they did. Very, very simple. But to round out this week, we have to talk about Clarence Thomas.
Somebody need to hit him with a camera flash because that man is stuck. He is stuck.
Look, I would love to say that Clarence could be helped with the camera flash, but he didn't felt this way for a long time, Mace. Okay, I'm talking about a long time. Okay, this the same brother. He had enough cognitive dissonance, Mace, to use everything he could that was supposed to help black people out, right? With what is it called? I can't think of the term. With basically all the laws that were put in place to try and help black people have an equal opportunity to go to schools and stuff like that. He used all of that to get into schools, and then turned around after he got out there and was like, racism doesn't exist. Like, what? Nigga, what? So, but Clarence Thomas is wild for all y'all that don't know. But great work from ProPublica and some other places like the Washingtonian.com have put out essentially that Clarence Thomas has been taking money on the low from Harlan Crow. And look, man, I'm not even going to go into the full level of how that's pure corruption. That's a long discussion. Me and Mase had a discussion for you sometime in the future here when things actually start moving forward on this, because something's going to come of this, because you can't just be taking money. Like, basically what he's taking is bribes, okay? If you read the story in full, essentially what he is taking is bribes. It's very, very simple. And how do you know it's bribes? Because when you start looking at how all of a sudden they'll have these just meet up of friends at Harlan's estates with some of these people that have cases that might be coming across the Supreme Court, you know, you kind of know what it is. So it's pretty fairly obvious. But what I want to, you know, so it's very, very corrupt. But what I want to talk about here is, because first off, we already know the 4-letter word that I like to use just to describe Mr. Clarence Thomas. And I understand some people be like, well, man, it's disrespectful. You should call him Supreme Court Justice. Man, kiss my cheeks. I ain't showing him no respect. Just like he don't show no respect for our people, I ain't showing him no respect. So it is what it is. But I just find it the funniest thing out of all this, and why I'm bringing him up right now, because I know we're going to have to keep bopping him over the head over the course of this year, man. So I already know what this is going to be. All right. This is gonna be bop, 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 over and over. Clarence, my man, how can you turn around and say that you are a person who loves to hop in your RV and travel the country and meet everyday people, and we find out you out here jet setting across the world with a billionaire who loves Nazis? And look, I understand Harlan Crow and his people, but like, he doesn't love Nazis. He's just a historian. He's a history buff and loves historics. Look, I love history. I consistently watch historical documentaries. I'm always trying to learn new stuff about history. Even if I had all the money in the world, if I bought some Nazi stuff, it would be to burn it. I would rather erase the Nazis from the face of this planet than to keep their memorabilia and have it framed up in my house. Nigga, no. So more's gonna come of the story, but I had to bring it to everybody's attention. Make sure you go read the article of ProPublica. It's awesome. More the Washingtonian. They've done great work on this. There's gonna be more to come of it. But I just want to say in conclusion, Clarence Thomas is taking trips from a Nazi lover. And
this man is the one that's deciding our fate, essentially.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was another trip into the mind of a madman. Each and every week we try and tell you, don't pay attention to the Kardashians because the Kardashians don't give a damn about you. Pay attention to science. Science can help change your lives and the lives of others for the best. And that's all I've got for you this week. But moving on here, Mase, you finally did your mock draft that you've been promising for the people. So let's start at the top. Mase, who do you got going number one to the Panthers that they traded that whole big package for? Who is it? Is it Stroud? Is it your boy Will Levis? Is it Will Anderson? Is it Bryce Young? Who do you got going number one?
It's Bryce Young. It has to be. He has the most unteachable skills of all the quarterback. He's got the things that you would think a franchise quarterback should be able to do. He's a natural mover in the pocket. Like, he just has that natural feel of pressure to where he can get in and out of those pockets of space to find his throwing lanes. I mean, talk about him being short all you want to, but he's not a small person. Even though he may be short, he's not small. So I don't think that's something that you should even be concerned about if you're the Panthers here. He's out and out the number one quarterback. I think he has pretty much sewn that up, and I just don't see the Panthers taking anybody other than him there. Like I said, I'm
gonna take issue with one thing you said though.
What?
Mase, he is not big. Stop that right now. He's smaller than Tua, and you're trying to be like, he's not as small as people act like. Nigga, he's small.
But I mean, didn't he weigh in around like 210?
Nigga, Tua weighs 210. He's small too. Both of them niggas are small. We talk about how Tua look like a baby as he getting hit in the pocket, and you over here trying to convince me that a dude that's like less weight than him isn't small? What?
He carries his weight well.
Nigga, what?
I said what I said.
See, that's how I know you was out too late last night. You see, you talking crazy this morning. All right, so moving on. Who's your number two pick?
I have Houston taking Will Anderson. This is the first wrench in this is the first curveball. Everybody thinks that Houston is just like sold on taking a quarterback. I'm not saying they don't take a quarterback, but everything that I've heard out of Houston is that Will Anderson is a can't miss, as a can't pass up prospect for them. I really, given a defensive coordinator, a defensive head coach, a talent like Will Anderson, I think that's going to do a lot more for his career than hoping that a quarterback saves his team, especially if Houston really is behind D'Amico and it gives him the opportunity to shape this team. I'm right there with him with feeling like Will Anderson is a can't miss and you can't pass him up. So I feel like they'll go Will Anderson at number 2 and figure the quarterback situation out later on in the draft.
So I like your logic. And please understand, though I disagree with the pick, in my mock, I have a different player, and I'm going to say who that is in 1 second here. I disagree with you just simply because they have to go quarterback here, because you don't know when you're going to have another set of prospects that are this talented. You don't know. I know some people be like, oh, there's talented guys every year, but not this level.
No, but the way them dominoes fall, though.
Nah, I think they have to go quarterback. I think they have to go quarterback here early, because I understand where your head's at, but the quality quarterbacks are not going to fall to their second pick. So I think they got to go quarterback. And I have the 2 quarterbacks inverse. See, so I've got Stroud going number 1, and I've actually got Bryce Young going number 2 to them, and getting actually a steal. Because, like you said, I think Bryce Young, as far as refined quarterback at this moment, he's probably the better refined product as a quarterback. So that being the case, they're going to be a remarkably improved team, because, look, man, as much as Davis Mills looked decent last year, that man showed, hey, I'm a backup quarterback, baby. That's what I am. So I think that helps them out a lot. So though we disagree, I think we both believe this team has to get their quarterback in this draft regardless. So who do you got going number 3, Mase, to the Cardinals?
I have them actually giving Kyler Murray a little bit of help on the offensive line. I'm not sure if Peter Skoransky is like worthy of that top 5 pick, but he is the best tackle in this draft. So I feel like he will go a lot sooner than he possibly should. And I could see Arizona being a team that goes ahead and tries to shore up a spot on that offensive line for Kyler.
So this is in my mock where I went crazy, and we can debate this another day. I don't want to get stuck in the mud here. But they're going to take Quentin Johnson, Mase. I think they are going to make a draft day deal for D-Hop, and they're going to take Quentin Johnson. I don't think they're going to be able to turn down having a dude that fast and that big for Kyler to throw the ball to with a new offensive head coach, right? Like I think that's just, he's looking at it and saying, this can be a pairing for me to go into the future with my Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison. You know what I mean? So that's where I think, I know you may think that's a little wild, but that's where I got. We both 100% agree on your next pick, Will Levis. Look, people, we don't even have to explain this. The Colts is taking Will Levis. Me and Mase told y'all months ago that this is going to happen. We don't even need to explain this, so we'll just keep it moving to the next pick at Seattle, and this is another place that I think me and you differ at. So, Mase, who do you got Seattle taking?
I have Jalen Carter. I think if he makes it to Seattle at number 5, I think they will be backflipping to the podium to pick him. Letting the time run down will just be a formality that you just kind of do in the first round, but I'm pretty sure if Jalen Carter's there at 5, I just don't see them passing up on a talent like that.
Here's where I disagree with you. In most circumstances, I think you're right. I think you cannot pass up on a guy like that, but they are in a very, very unique position, and it is a lot like where the Packers were right when they drafted Aaron Rodgers. They said, we can sit you for a couple of years and have no complaints from the fan base. Because we've seen Geno can play. Like Geno proved last season. Look, between what he did in after the Jets and then last season you're looking at with the Seahawks, Geno proved he could play. They can sit him for a couple of years. They are going Will Anderson. I'm sorry, not Will Anderson. Anthony Richardson. Excuse me. Sorry. They have to take their quarterback now because Geno was only going to get them 3 to 4 years at best. At best. Because, look, man, I know people want to say, oh, well, Drew Brees played till then, Tom Brady. Yeah, but look at all the dudes that, like, came in around that same time and after them that retired before them. Most people ain't going to last that long. So I say Anthony Richardson. Mase, who you got the Lions taking at 6?
I think they get a running mate for Aiden Hutchinson. They get who I believe is the best hand in the ground pass rusher in this draft, and Tyree Wilson. When you look at the Detroit Lions games, Aiden Hutchinson was fighting for his life out there. He had one of the highest double team rates in the league. As a rookie, to be the guy that the teams like, as long as we take care of him, we're good. You have to give him some help. And Tyree Wilson does that hand over foot. Like I said, he's the best, I guess what you would call a traditional defensive end I guess that's how we're doing it now, because Will Anderson's obviously the best edge rusher, but I just feel like Tyree Wilson he's the guy for them, plain and simple.
So here is where I actually think Jalen Carter is going to end up going. I think Detroit has the best possibility fall right into their lap. We're now in the last 2 drafts, here's where I differ with you. I don't think that they need another edge. I think they want to see what the other guy did. He came on for them like late into the season, and I think he still finished with like 7 or 8 sacks. And he literally like wasn't playing for them until like halfway through the year. So I forget his name. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I don't mean to be disrespectful to the man, but I think this is where Jalen Carter goes, and they continue to build that line up front. Mase, who you got the Raiders taking at 7?
I have them another team that backflips to the podium. If he's there, I have them taking CJ Stroud at 7. Plain and simple, they have to get a quarterback. And if it turns out to be CJ Stroud, the Raiders are going to hit in the draft. Simple as that. We know we laugh about the Raiders draft picks over recent years, but if they can come up on CJ Stroud, I think that would be enough to calm the quiet storm of Devontae Adams wanting to get out of there. And they may have something with that.
This is more my disagreement with you on this. It's just more so I don't trust the Raiders, and I see them doing something stupid like drafting Hendon Hooker. So I got Hendon Hooker going here.
That would be.
I see them reaching because the quarterback, they're like, we got to get a quarterback. We have to. No matter what they say, they know Jimmy G is not a long-term option. No matter what. He might not even be a short-term option because we know he can barely stay healthy too. So I think they have to go quarterback here. All right, so Mase, who do you got the Falcons taking?
They obviously need help on defense, and with the premier defensive lineman gone, I see them going Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. He's got everything you would want to be AJ Terrell's running mate on the opposite side. I think he's going to step in and be a day one starter for whatever team drafts him. I really don't see a flaw in that man's game as a cornerback. He's big, physical, fast. He's got the reactionary abilities that you need out there, and I think Atlanta is on their way to turning the curve.
For me, this is where I actually have Will Anderson Jr. going. I feel like they're going to get a extremely talented player to fall right into their lap that they're going to have to take him then and there, right? Like, because that helps. Regardless, that's a step in the right direction. You now have a great defensive player coming in to play for your team that doesn't really have a lot of talent up front. So I'm going to go Will Anderson there, excuse me. All right, so Mase, who do you got the Bears taking?
I have them taking Christian Gonzalez. I think it's kind of a flip-flop with those two. I don't think Chicago would pass up on either Gonzalez or Witherspoon, whoever makes it there. But you've got to get Jalen Johnson some help in that secondary. Like, you've got to get somebody at the cornerback spot that you can rely on outside of Jalen Johnson. Like, you have to.
So for me, while I agree with your logic, I think they go Paris Johnson Jr. here. One thing that Poles has shown me in this offseason is that he clearly says, I have a quarterback. I need to do my best to support him. Because if we get him right, everything else will start falling into place for us. I think they use this pick to secure up the other tackle position. What I see happening this year offensively, I know some people will be like, well, wait, don't you guys already have a full offensive line? No, I see them kicking Borum inside it and trying to get some good reps out of him there, potentially at guard, because he's not really a good tackle. I see them moving Cody Whitehair back to the position he should have been playing for us the whole time, which is center, and the Bears end up getting that offensive line towards the direction of what the Eagles did, which is, hey, we're going to have some maulers up front on both sides of the ball. We're going to maul you, and we're going to see if you can deal with that for 4 quarters. So I think that's who the Bears take. And then to round out today's draft talk, because we'll get you the rest of round 1 in our next episode here, because I don't want us to run too long here. Mase, who do you have the Eagles taking at 10?
I have them going Kalaji Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. I know they brought Fletcher Cox back, and I know they still got Jordan Davis there. But if you notice, they had a very solid rotation with Javon Hargraves on that in the interior of that defensive line as well. And with him leaving, I think that opens up the door for them to bring in another young talent with Fletcher Cox. And I think that defensive line still is a terror for teams next season with the addition of Kancey.
Interesting. I went D-line too, but I did not go Kancey. I saw them being the team that goes out and says, Nolan Smith, come on down. I just see it, man. They really need some edge guys, right? Like, they need somebody to go with Hassan Reddick on the edge. You had, like you said, they brought back Fletcher Cox. So you got at least another year, maybe 2 out of Fletcher Cox. You can find you another interior defensive lineman next year. But a dude with that type of physical ability at the defensive end position, you ain't going to find that all the time. So I think that's where they end up going, and I think they add to those maulers up front again and say, good luck opposing quarterbacks. Because one thing that I think they learned in the Super Bowl last year is, if we're going to win this, we need 2 guys coming off the edge. We need 2 of them. We need to threaten both sides, because our guys in the middle, you can't double team both of them.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So I think they need to add more of an edge threat, and that's where they end up going. I
do have a few of my honorables, since we're only hitting. There's a few I want to hit on. I guess y'all are thinking like, Mase, where the hell is Anthony Richardson? Well, for y'all that don't know,
hey, no, you tease that for the next episode. You hush. Stop. You tease for the next episode. You make these motherfuckers wait. Okay? No, y'all don't get it. I'm sorry. Mase was about to give it to you. I said no. None of that. You listen to the next episode. That's what you need to do. Next episode, you'll find out where Mase thinks Anthony Richardson is going.
I tried, people.
Baby. You got to tease it, Mase. You got to tease it. Keep the people coming back. Keep them wanting more.
Sometimes you just got to give them what they want.
Yeah, we did. We gave them the first 10 picks.
And what they want is to know where Anthony Richardson and Bijan Robinson falls.
And that's why they need to make sure that they tune into next week's episode of ITC Sportsball. So, Mase, tell the people where to find you.
You know, man, Twitter, funky_Steph09, Twitch, twitch.tv/swaggy Mase. You know, man, just hit me up.
Mr. Low Elo, tell the people where to find you.
You can find me.
He wants to say yeah so bad, people.
Oh, he does. Oh,
Find me on Twitch, Low Elo Janitor. Yeah, I can always fit it in. That's where you can find me. Why you shake your head? It's the facts of life. You know this.
At J Spann the Man everywhere. You see my pretty face or the ITC logo. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you are notified every time we drop new content on YouTube and on your audio listening app like Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. But yes, people, we appreciate you coming in and sitting through another episode of your favorite weekly sports show, and that is ITC Sportsball.
Yeah.
I hate you. Sports ball.
Yeah.
Don't